Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video, and this one is everything that the previous video isn't. So, well, yeah. So here we have the setup right here. So, amazingly, considering we are starting at noon, so you may find it a bit hard to believe, but yeah, this was requested by Lightheworld. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's not set at night. It can't possibly be a request of his, but yeah, it is. So, yes. Departure at noon, and it's clear weather and it's autumn, but yeah, that's all the very basic stuff. So the route is, to put it mildly, extremely long. It is by far the longest route that has been requested on any of these videos. So we are starting at Darlington, and our destination is London King's Cross. So it is a journey of roughly 230 miles. That's a fair distance. Now, I have a feeling I know why he chose Darlington as the starting point. Anybody who saw the live stream that I did, where I did the London to Edinburgh route, for the section that involved going from York to Newcastle, that section was not electrified, at least not in that route DLC. Now, since then, I have got another route DLC which covers most of that area, and this route is electrified. However, it doesn't quite reach Newcastle. The furthest north it reaches is, you've guessed it, Darlington. Actually, it does go further north than Darlington, but Darlington is sort of like the largest station on the route here that it covers. So, yeah, Darlington it is. Now, with regards to stops, he asked for York and Doncaster. Now, York, not only can I do it, I have to do it. But Doncaster I can't do, because Doncaster is, if you look at the actual East Coast main line, once you are sort of into Yorkshire, Doncaster is on a sort of slight deviation just off the East Coast main line. So I can't actually include it. So I'll add an alternative second stop, and yeah, that will be Peterborough. Those of you who know will know exactly why I've chosen Peterborough. Yep, I have to choose it. It's not an option. I've got to stop there. So, final thing then is the train itself, and it is the return of the Class 370, the APT. Now, the APT, even though it was always supposed to, never actually ran on the East Coast main line, so it was never seen on this particular route that we are doing, but it should have been. Yeah. I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to rant about what happened to the APT during this. Now, I've no idea how long this is going to take, but I would imagine it's going to be the best part of 3 hours. So yeah, we're in for the long haul on this one. So let's get her up and running. Okay, here we are at Darlington station, and here is the mighty APT. So we are in a standard APT setup, 10 car. Let's get the lighting sorted out. Yeah, that did not take long. Okay, let's get the train up and running. So master key is in, reverser into auxiliaries. Motors started. CAPT acknowledged. Now, I did deliberately keep this quiet. The CAPT is, well, I'd like to think obviously, but yeah, the CAPT system is not going to be active for this entire journey. Yeah, it has not been programmed into any quick drive scenarios. So even if I was on the West Coast main line over Shap route, which the APT has career scenarios for, yeah, quick drive, it doesn't work there either. There could be some workshop scenarios that will enable it. In fact, I'm sure there are, but trying to find specific workshop scenarios is a pain in the arse, to put it mildly. It's made really bloody awkward, so yeah, I gave up, to be honest. Right, let's make sure we have the lighting done. Right, so yeah, equipment lights are on. Well, the instrument lights are on. Yeah, okay, they're all okay. What have we got here? Right, fan, heater, instrument lights, yes, I say I'll switch them on. So in fact, I think this equipment bay light is not even, yeah, I can't do anything to change that. Right, we'll move emergency braking. I think you have to turn it off completely and then put it back on again. Now into forward. We'll let passengers on and off. Once all the doors are shut, we are ready to get going. There we go. Okay, brakes off. Let's get underway. So for the duration of this trip, our max speed will be 125 mph. Unfortunately not the 155 that this can do. And our first stop is at York, which is just over 44 miles away. So we'll be able to make that in pretty good time, I think. According to the ETA, it's going to take us a little over half an hour. Okay, so we're now on to a 90 section. We can give it some full throttle. We will be in the 125 mph section long before we reach 90. There we go, we're now in it. We were only doing 53 at the time. This speed reduction that's coming up, not ideal. And I'm pretty sure we will be at least pretty close to 115 by the time we reach it. So even though we will only be doing 125 max on this trip. The sense of speed will still very much be there. It's one of the things that I really like about the APT. You get a real sense of speed from pretty much the moment your speed reaches 3 figures. So we're entering the 115 mph section now. It's only about 1.25 miles and then we can go back up to 125. So entering the 125 zone now, and now we can power up. Oh, I am now speeding, but yeah, here we are now. This is the only seat we actually get to see from the passengers' point of view. Some yeah, pretty good, the old trackside shots of the APT at its almost its top speed on this line. Now the kind of speeds this thing is usually going, and probably will be going throughout this journey, any sort of gradients and that we may encounter are going to make little to no difference. So you'll be glad to hear you're not going to have me constantly going on about yeah, we're on a 1 in whatever gradient throughout this trip. So we're already over 10 miles in. It feels like we've barely been going. Quite a bit of stutter there, but that will, at the very least, it will be reduced when we leave York Station. Northallerton Station coming up. We will be able to go through there at pretty close to full speed. So here is Northallerton Station. Yeah, we only went through there at 120 mph. That's a bit slow for this thing. According to the ETA, we will be at York in about 20 minutes. And 25 miles to our first stop. Because the East Coast main line is so straight for the vast majority of it, we're not going to see quite so much of the tilting mechanism that the APT has. I did also find out why this route does not have any AI trains on it, and I kind of wish that I hadn't, because it turns out that it does have AI trains on it, all Armstrong Powerhouse. And while this route does have a lot of like standard scenarios, no career ones, but it does have standard ones, yeah, you need quite the number of Armstrong Powerhouse DLC if you plan on doing any of them. Not the greatest place for that view. Ten miles now up till we reach York. So speed reduction down to 60 coming up. I had started braking a little bit early, but as you saw the previous video in the shitty class 142, I was saying about how good the brakes were in that, but yeah, they are nothing compared to the brakes in this thing. Double yellows, which is yeah, that is fine. That is to be expected. Once again, I braked way too early, but single yellow again, that is to be expected. So we are approaching platform 3. If you want to make sure we stop before that red signal. I'm trying to get all of the train onto the platform. I mean, let's face it, this platform is huge, so we are going to do that, even though it doesn't look it on the display there. So there we are, we've made it to York, our first stop. So we have been at this station for a couple of minutes, well, about 3 or 4 minutes. In that time I've managed to magic up a new cup of tea. I've even been able to reboot my PC. How's that for a miracle? So anyway, we are all set to depart from York, except I think there are some passengers still waiting to get back on again, so we'll have the doors Okay, the doors aren't going to do anything, so yeah, there's no one still to come on. Right, let's get underway. So, yes, the first part then, after departing Darlington, our first stop at York here was after 44 miles. Our next stop is a little bit further, 112 miles to Peterborough, where we will make the next stop on the route. So the magnificent 125, but compared to this, old hat. Unfortunately, we do have to throttle down just briefly, but now we're into a 90 mph zone, and yeah, we will certainly not have reached 90 by the time we enter the 125 mph zone, and I suspect that zone is going to last quite some time. And there is a world of difference on doing this particular route DLC here in this train compared to the one that I was in when I last did this route. There is a career scenario on this route, and it's for the entire length of it. So you start at Peterborough and finish at York in a class 91. Now, if you've seen my video, I had no idea that 100 mph section was there. It was there very briefly, it's gone again, and now we are back to 125. But yeah, if you saw my video on the class 91, you will see that I think it is the worst train to drive in the game, and it certainly demonstrates why. Well, in that career scenario, what I did after starting it, I got so far and then saved it because I was going to come back to it. I've done that twice, so I've had 3 goes on it so far. And I've done 9 miles because that driver vigilance thing is just fucking unbearable. Of course, Dovetail Games will say, well, we put it in there for the sake of realism. Well, yes, it is realistic, and yes, it is true that the Class 91 did have that driver vigilance system. It went off every minute, regardless of whether you put any control inputs in or not. So yeah, that is true. It's also true that drivers refused to drive them because they had that system implemented. And they're absolutely legit. They hated it that much, and who can blame them, that they refused to drive it. This is despite the fact that they were being paid to. Now, we're playing a game. We are not being paid to put up with that fucking horseshit. So who the fuck at Dovetail Games not only thought it was perfectly okay to put that feature in and make sure it could not be disabled under any circumstances whatsoever, and then someone else at Dovetail Games signed it off and said, yep, that's great, and now we can publish it. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with the Class 91 in this game. As much as I utterly detest Armstrong Powerhouse, if you do want to be driving the Class 91 in this game, you have to have the Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack for it, because it is utterly insufferable without it. The really annoying thing is I don't hate the 91, I'm not a big fan of it, and I hate the fact that they call it Intercity 225, which is a horrendously misleading name. But yeah, I don't hate the 91, it's not bad, and I wouldn't mind doing some, you know, runs in a Class 91, but not in the horrendous state that it's in this game. Thankfully, we are not in a 91. We are in a vastly superior loco, despite the fact that the Class 91 actually took the speed record off the APT. Only just. The APT set the speed record at 161.2 mph, and I think it was actually the APT-E that did it. So they did it in the 70s. And it wasn't broken until 1989 when a Class 91 came along, and yeah, the speed was recorded at 161.7, so it beat it by half a mile an hour. And that record still stands. No one, I mean, to be honest, I don't think anyone's tried to beat it yet, but so the APT, a train that was initially developed and was undergoing its first tests in 1974, because it was the APT-E that did that speed, is only half a mile an hour slower than the fastest recorded speed of a train in this country to this day. And the APT really did get really shitty treatment. It's the greatest train that this country has ever built, no question. It's a technological fucking masterpiece. It is the railway equivalent of Concorde. But of course it was the 80s. We had Thatcher in power. Thatcher hated British Rail, vehemently hated it. She was looking for any excuse to dramatically cut their budget. And of course Fleet Street, who were almost entirely all Thatcherites, gave her the excuse that she wanted by saying that the tilting mechanism made them all sick. Another Class 43 approaching. But of course, when they wrote that, they left out the insignificant detail, as far as they were concerned, that they had poured down gallons of champagne at the launch party prior to undergoing the journey that they took. But I'm sure that had nothing to do with why they all felt sick. If you believe that, then fucking hell, gullible doesn't even begin to describe you. In fact, that was not the reason why the APT got scrapped, because we have a Class 89. I keep forgetting about that. This route is absolutely determined to make everyone think that the Class 89 went into production. That will certainly not be the last Class 89 we will see on this route. mean, the 89 and the 91, both trains that basically came about as a result of yeah, using parts from the carcass of the APT. Now I suspect, yep, still no sign of anyone here. They certainly got it accurate as far as the seats, the very cheap looking table, the fact that none of the windows could be opened, that was certainly the case. I mean, it was, what, 84, I think, when the APT first came into service, and it was promptly removed, and it didn't come back until 86, I think it was. It was either 86 or 87. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 86. And when it came back, there was no fanfare or nothing. The first anyone knew about it, or in fact even knew that they were going to be travelling on APT, was when one just showed up at the platform where they were waiting for their train. Another 43. There was a question I was asked a while ago. It was around when I first started doing these request videos. I think it was Northlander who asked it, who seems to have disappeared, so I don't know if he's going to ever actually see this video, but he was asking if either the 43 was, you know, the sort of predecessor to the APT. Yeah, it was that, yeah. The answer to that is no, it wasn't. They were both developed around the same time. We had the Class 41, which was the Class 43 prototype, possibly the most hideous looking train to have ever run on British rails. And that was being tested, I think it was first tested around 72. But the design and of the APT-E, and I think the prototype was actually being built by then already. So yeah, they were both being developed at the same time. The Class 43 was intended to be little more than a stopgap solution. And it was going to run on the high-speed routes effectively as cover while the APT was still being developed and while the fleet that they were expecting to build afterwards was in production. And once the APT was fully up and running, the 43 was going to be retired. And clearly that is not how things actually worked out. there we go, there's a second class 89. So yeah, so this route is hell bent on making us think that yeah, there was more than one built. I mean, it is, you know, I mean, it could be that the 89 is so fast that it was able to do an entire loop and come back again. I wouldn't bet the mortgage on it, but you know, might explain why it, you know, why we're able to see more than one of the things. So another 43. We're about to enter the 105 mph zone, and then that drops down again to 100, and we have a flashing yellow. Now I have no idea where that diversion is. It's not showing on the HUD, so we'll see what this next signal is. Well, we got something warning us to slow down, but the signal was green. And we're now in a 120 mph zone, or we're just entering it. And we've got green signals again, so okay. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. Now at a 125 mph zone. That was a big old I have a funny feeling that was Doncaster we just went through. Oh well. Hurry up and drop down. Stop with this fucking speeding thing. There we go. Another speed reduction coming up in a mile and a half down to 110. And we're we're certainly not going to lose enough speed just by coasting, but we will coast for a bit to see how much it will come down by. Well, not bad, down to 115. Those brakes took a little bit longer to kick in than I was expecting. Get some of the tilt there. Another 43. We're entering another 125 zone. Now we're in there. Let's throttle up properly. There we have a 66. I guarantee that thing's going to be pulling over into passing lanes quite a bit. I did not think we would start speeding that quickly, because it took it a while to get between, or get up from 124 to 25. It probably has something to do with the gradient that we were on. I can't imagine it making a vast difference, but it's not the main gradient of this route by any stretch. That won't be until we reach Stoke Bank. We're still a fair way from that. So we have a speed decrease to 120 in a mile and a half. Well, I'm only doing 1 mph more than that, so I don't think I need to react. And there is another 89. So there we go, we don't need to worry about the speed limit, even though I have already racked up way more speeding errors than I would like, but well, this won't be one of them. So I think that might have been Newark that we just went through there. Another speed decrease in a mile and a half down to 115. So again, we're all right there. We'll be able to go back up to 125 in a mile and a half. So we've entered the 125 zone, now we can throttle up. Again, you've got quite a view of the old tilt there. And another 43. Probably get another 89 in a minute. Let the speed drop a little bit there. Oh, I thought it would be an 89, but no, another 43. There's a hell of a lot of 43s running on this line. Well, I know there were plenty of them running, but I'm not sure there was quite this many. Yet another. We're now less than 50 miles from our next stop at Peterborough. It's a bit of a hefty speed reduction down to 100 in about a mile and a third. Probably going to have to brake for that. There's no probably about it, we will have to brake for it. Ah, so this is Newark station coming up, so whatever that one was that we ran through earlier and I thought was Newark, clearly I was way off. So we're in the 100 zone, and it must be purely because of that bridge. Ah, and okay, the crossing there. There's the crossing for the Nottingham to Lincoln route, which is also a route available for this game. Anyway, we're now in a 125 zone again, so let's race through Newark station. A view of the tilt. are still accelerating. Had so many of those things now, I'm not even going to bother pointing them out. So I think we are now entering the Stoke Bank. So around here we're on a 1 in 200 or so gradient up, and this gradient goes on for quite a while. It's about 10 or 12 miles till we reach the Stoke Bank tunnel. After that we've got, I think it's about a 5-mile section where we are going downwards on a, in fact it might be that downward section that's a 220 gradient. This one is, I mean, neither of them are particularly steep, but yeah, this one, oh here we go, it is now 220. This is the area where the speed records are all set, although they were all going the other way so they could take advantage of the downhill gradient. So this is where the Mallard set its speed record. I don't know if the APT set its speed record here. I'll say it didn't really run on this line. It was designed very much with the West Coast main line in mind. That's why it had the tilting mechanism. But the Class 91, when it took the speed record from the APT, yep, that was done here as well. Rather more successful than the Mallard's speed record. I mean, everyone talks about how great it was when Mallard took it, and yeah, let's be honest, it was great. Fantastic achievement. Totally knackered the thing up. Engine was practically unusable ever since. So we have a speed reduction to 115. Or coast. That should be enough to lose the, there we go. We'll still be losing speed with notch 1, but not as much as if it was just coasting. Let's put it up in notch 2. I think we'll still lose speed in notch 2. Where the fuck did that come from? And then it's gone again. That's the second time it's done that. It is, to put it mildly, really irritating. You also meet, if you're, you know, doing career scenarios and you get caught out by that, well, there you go. Bang goes your fucking, you know, attempt at a max score. And if you're anything like me, when I'm doing career scenarios, I'm only interested in max score. So here comes the Stoke Bridge, the Stoke Bank tunnel. Now, I must admit, I do not like travelling through tunnels in this game. They are so eerie with all the echoing and everything else. Now in real life, if I was travelling on a train and it went through a tunnel, not a problem. So if we were, you know, in a car going through a tunnel, not a problem. But in this game, for some reason, I don't like going through the tunnels. I very much doubt anybody is actually looking at me in the webcam during these videos. But you may notice, if you do sort of look at my direction, whenever we're going through a tunnel, I am looking everywhere except straight ahead. Don't need to put the brakes as high up as notch 3 for these sort of speed reductions. So in the 100 mph section as we approach Grantham station. So Peterborough is now less than 30 miles away. Here we are at Grantham, snobby place, birthplace of Satan herself, fucking Thatcher. Right, so we're up to 115. I have a feeling the 115 mph speed limit that we're on now, that's probably going to be the max for the rest of, or certainly this stretch up to Peterborough. So much for that prediction. So into the 125 zone. Now we can we're now on the downhill section, so we are coming to the end of the Stoke Bank section. But, 178 downhill, may not be able to lose any speed in knots 2, which I'm sure you've noticed by now. If I'm trying to lose speed at a very slow rate, I'm putting it in knots 2, especially when we're doing these sorts of speeds. Speed is still coming down, but yeah, it is at a slower rate. So ETA has us less than 15 minutes from Peterborough, which itself is just under 21.5 miles away. Class 56 there. I don't know what happened to all the Class 56 requests. He has never appeared. We could be just a couple of weeks away from some new routes and locos being added. So yeah, watch out on the pinned comment of the Your Requests Here video. See if anything new appears there. I'll say now, I'm not 100% certain if anything new is going to appear there. It's only going to happen if there is a sale in a couple of weeks. And I have it on fairly good authority that it's very likely, but it is not guaranteed. The only one that I know is definitely coming, that they always have a Halloween sale. So that's another month and a bit away. Well, compared to a lot of my runs on this route, this one's been semi-realistic. We've only had like 3 Class 89s pass us. Usually by now I've had about 7 or 8 of them. So yeah, let's get rid of that fucking echoing thing. Let the speed drop a lot more than I intended there. That's what happens when I keep poncing about with external views rather than actually watching how we're doing. Oh, there we go. That's the fourth 89. And that 43 is very close behind that 89. There's got to be some speed decreases coming up soon. We're less than 5 miles from Peterborough. Well, it is a speed decrease, but I thought it was going to be a bit more than that. What we'll do is just keep coasting because, yeah, we're now less than 3 miles. So we know the speed decreases are going to come along in pretty quick succession rather soon. Now, is that yellow for us? Yes, it is. There's quite a pause between the AWS signal showing and the audio alert. So yeah, here we are, 30 mph speed limit coming up. That 30 looks like it's because that's where the points are that we are going over. We are coming in to platform 2. Brakes on this thing are just like seriously good. I think it's the hydro pneumatic brakes that they use. I mean, there were issues with the brakes on the prototype APT as well as the experimental, but it wasn't the hydro pneumatic brakes. It was the regular brakes that actually had the issues. So I'm assuming this is the point that we are going over. Yep. So in fact, the speed reduction was way before it actually showed on the route display there. There we are, we will let the passengers off. So here we are at Peterborough. The penultimate stop of our route. Okay, now you may have noticed from the time here we've been here nearly half hour. Yes, the the train underwent a few tests, and it's also been moved to platform 3. Actually, I think it did come in on platform 3. So yes, we have been held here for about half hour, which gave me the chance to make another cup of tea. And because of all these changes, I will need to reinitialize or set up the train. It looks like the doors, there you go, yeah, they have now, so the doors were closed. So let's get the train set up. So if you are thinking of getting this Loco DLC, and I cannot recommend it highly enough, it's a fantastic train to drive in this game. So yeah, if you are thinking of getting it, I really do recommend you do so. But it is a slightly more advanced one, so it's a bit more of a faff as far as getting it started. So click on the top of the reverser there to put the master key into place. We now move the reverser into auxiliaries, which is not full forward. We now, this step here, press E there to stop the alarm from the CAPT. But yeah, that step there where I put the motor alternator start, that may only be a step that's needed if we are doing a cold start, which I'm not while I am here. So right, instrument lights on. The marker lights and all that are on, so the lights are all fine. So yep, we are all pretty good. So once you have done all that and got all the power going, you then need to take the brakes out of emergency. I then just reapply them just to make sure you don't go backwards. Now you set the reverser into forward. We have 76.3 miles to go, and we are at King's Cross, our final destination. So we now take the brakes off. You've got to make sure that the brakes are not still sort of like coming off or anything, because otherwise when you put power on it doesn't do anything. So with the brakes fully off, then you start applying power and away we go. So we are in a 30 mph section, but yeah, we've got a 25 mph coming right up, so we'll only go up to that speed. Yeah, it's just while we're going over these points to take us back onto the main line. Obviously still on the East Coast main line. Now I think once the whole train has come off those points and is on the line, we will then be able to go 105. We don't have to wait for this whole thing to pass us. We'll soon see. My predictions haven't exactly gone great, but yeah, this one has turned out to be the case. Now I know there are a few sections on this stretch of the East Coast main line where we can do 125. But certainly by the time we pass the two garden cities, Letchworth and Welling, yeah, there's no more 125 mph zones after that. Welling is the southernmost of the two guns is, so yeah, once we pass Welling we definitely know there will be no more 125 MPA zones. But anyway, we are very much on the home straight now as we do the last 76 miles, so I may have slightly overestimated the actual distance. In fact, I may have underestimated them now I think about it. I said it was about 230. I think it's going to end up being more like 250. Anyway, however many it is, we've almost done them. Here we are. It's coming out of Peterborough. I think we are still in Cambridgeshire. Peterborough is very, very far south in Cambridgeshire, so it's not going to take us long before we reach the next county, which I believe is ultra snobby Hertfordshire. So we actually have a speed decrease already. Speed reduction to 100. So increase to 105 any second. Yeah, we're just entering the 105 zone. And now we are there. And 125 coming up in just under a mile and a half. So I was saying just before we started the approach to Peterborough that there may be some more routes coming. It is actually possible that I may get one or two routes even if there are no sales on. There's a very good reason for it. One of them, well, I'll tell you which one it is North Somerset. Now, it's not a route I'm like hugely desperate to get, but it is only cheap. At full price it's only 10 quid. But the important reason for getting it is it means I will then have all the requirements to download another freeware route, and it's a free route that I am really keen to get. It's the 1066 route, which takes us from Tunbridge to Hastings. So hopefully, regardless of whether there is a sale on or not, I will at least have that route, or those two routes. The weird thing is, if I do, if there is a sale on, I am likely to get some of the more, or what would have been the more expensive routes. So I probably would not get the North Somerset route, so I would not be able to do you'll not be able to install the 1066 route. So even though it's a route I am really keen to get, if there is a sale on, I won't have it. If there isn't a sale on, then there is a good chance I will get it. Because cost is always a factor. Because there is no way I will ever ask anyone watching my videos to pony up for anything, because I really do find the whole idea utterly abhorrent. Yeah, it is going to just have to be a case of, well, if and when I can afford it. I'll also point out that what I was saying earlier about passing the two garden cities, Letchworth isn't actually directly on the East Coast Main Line. There is a branch that takes you from Welwyn Garden City to, up to Letchworth. It carries on. I can't remember where it actually stops. It's another freeware route, another one I'm quite keen to get, but yeah, there's about 2 or 3 route DLCs that I don't yet have before I can get that one. And while they are ones that are certainly down on my wish list, because of the types of routes they are, well, they're the North and South London networks, which makes them like obviously commuter routes, lots of stations in a comparatively short sort of like space. They're not my favourite type of routes, so they are certainly routes I will be getting, but not right away. Great view of the tilt there. So we're approaching Huntingdon. I pronounce it somewhat differently usually. You do not need to be a genius to work out what the difference is. I mean, this is absolute Tory voter heartland, this. I mean, you know, we're talking people who voted Tory at the last general election. There is nothing the Tories could do that would make these people not vote for them. Tories could bring back concentration camps and mandatory culling of anyone over the age of 60, and this lot would still vote them in. So, speed reduction to 120 in a mile and a half. I don't think, actually, yeah, I think we will get away with just coasting it. Yeah, easy. Yeah, we are there already. There we are, we're in the 120 zone. All these somewhat rare sort of like curves are very much the reason for the speed reduction. I'll also point out that I have been keeping track of all of my operational errors. So far they are only speeding errors, but yeah, I have currently racked up 9 of them. So we'll find out the grand total when we get to King's Cross. So back into a 125 mph zone. So St Neots, next station, which will be absolutely tearing through. There we go. So that was St Neots station. Wasn't that remarkable? I think I missed a whistle sign there, but oh well. So we're down to the final 50 miles. So one route that I was certainly considering doing, I do need one more DLC before I can do it, and I think it's a pretty predictable one, was London to Cardiff. I mean, I've done London to Edinburgh, so London to Cardiff is, you know, seems about right. But I think this route that I've done here is longer. So it almost seems a bit of a waste saving that for a live stream, but again, wait until I have all of the necessary DLC to actually do that run. I did actually get an interesting request. It wasn't on the you know, in the comments on the actual request video. It was me and Jim were chatting away through the Steam chat, and he came up with a video idea that he put to me, which was I'm trying to remember it now. Oh yeah, right, it was the class 802, starting in Scarborough and going down the Hull. And Oh, I thought it was a great idea. There was only one slight problem. I don't have the 802, I don't have Scarborough, I don't have Hull, and I don't have the line that connects the two. But apart from that, it was a great idea for a vid. Yeah, sorry Jim, but I just couldn't resist that one. The ridiculous thing is, I mean, as far as I'm aware, out of all those bits there that I don't have, the only one that I think I can get is the 802 locomotive. Again, it's a fucking Armstrong powerhouse job, but it is gettable. But I don't remember seeing any routes. I mean, admittedly, I've not looked through any of the freeware routes for, Hull or Scarborough, but I don't remember seeing any mention of Hull or Scarborough in any routes that I've looked at. And come on, Hull is a major port, major North Sea port. Surely there is a route DLC of some description that features Hull. With Biggleswade coming up. Track outside, or actually the track between Biggleswade and Hitchin still in perfect nick after my fantastic ballast tamping of a few weeks back. I'm sure you'll all sleep a lot better knowing that. So yeah, there we are, Biggleswade, about as unremarkable a station as you're likely to see. No idea what station that was. I'm assuming Arlesey. No shortage of these whistle signs everywhere. I assume there is a good reason why we're having to let everybody know every time we've moved about 100 yards. This is certainly a familiar sight on the East Coast Main Line. Gun barrel straight. Not completely flat, but as near as damn it. It's easier to see why the APT was designed and tested on the West Coast Main Line rather than East. Especially with the tilting mechanism, it was very much had the West Coast Main Line in mind. 700. Very much underrated train, the Class 700. It's another train that really should have appeared in more request videos than it has. The only request video it has appeared in was one of mine, rather like the 56. No, can't ever read it. Actually, I'll tell a lie. No, the 700, it wasn't one of mine. It was the one request I got from Pro Skills, who has pretty much disappeared ever since he made the request, because at the time I didn't have the route he wanted, and then about 2 days later I did get it. Asked him what loco he wanted to see used, and I'd never heard of him, never heard from him, so I thought fuck it, I'll choose, and I went with a 700. So Stevenage is the next station. I'm pretty sure after Stevenage is Welwyn Garden City, so this 125 mph zone is going to be coming to an end fairly soon. Another train approaching, let's see what it is. 180. I did not expect to see one of those. So here we are at Stevenage Station. Nebworth next. Right. Anyone wanting a music festival? That's not the place to go. I don't like music festivals anyway. Open air outdoor venues just don't work for music concerts. Oh, with the exception of one actually, the first of the three tennis concerts, which I think was possibly the greatest musical event of all time, past the 365. Yeah, that was open air outdoor. That was fucking a legendary. But yeah, it was the only one. Yet another speeding bollocks up from me. So we have a 115 mph yeah, max speed decrease coming up, so I think Welwyn is going to be pretty close after that. Yeah, always well in north, but I've lost quite a bit of speed already. I was only meant to take it down to 115 and we are down to 110. But yeah, our speed is going up again, which is what we wanted. There we are through Welling North Station. Welling Garden City is the next one. I think we are going to be going through the avoiding lane there. On the rather long, presumably the Welling Viaduct. Not sure if that was a 319 or a 321, but it was one of those. So yeah, there's Welling Garden City station. So we know now that the 125 mph zones are no more. We have less than 20 miles till we reach King's Cross. I can't remember if Welling Hatfield, well, it's just Hatfield Station. I can't remember if that actually is a station. Even if it is, again, we're on the avoiding line. We will not be going anywhere near the platforms. Not like we were going to stop there anyway, but yep, there is a station. So there you go, Welling Hatfield. Get some more of the good old tilt. This curve really does go on, and there we are. So another, I'm pretty sure that was a 319. So Brookman's Park is the next station. Well, actually we've got this one first, which I assume is Welham Green, but Brookman's Park is the first one that's actually shown as one, so we are going to be going past the platform. there it is. Wasn't that great? So Potter's Bar, so we're very much approaching North London now. And we have a speed reduction, or max speed reduction, down to 100 coming up. Here we are at Potter's Bar station. Hadleywood, the next one. They're all coming along pretty thick and fast now. So here we are, Hadleywood. Wasn't that great? New Barnet is the next one. Yeah, they really are coming along thick and fast now. There we are, that's a New Barnet station, and Oakley Park, barely half a mile on from here. We've got another 365 going by. There we go. New Southgate is the next, and we have another speed reduction after we pass there. What I'm doing, I don't really want to be increasing speed. We can just coast to, yeah, we're already okay as far as that speed goes. So, yeah, New Southgate station right there, and Alexandra Palace coming up. I think actual Alexandra Palace itself, yeah, you can't quite see it. You can see the transmitter, there it is. That's as good a view as we get of it. Actually from here we get a fairly good view of it. But certainly not while we are at the station. So there goes another 365 and another 319. Oh, and we have another speed reduction coming up down to 90. Finsbury Park coming up, which, yeah, that's where the Arsenal football stadium is, isn't it? Where the Emirates is. That must be warning us about a speed reduction. I'll take it down to 75. No, I've got to take it down to 65. So there we go. And then I'll let it continue to run down as we coast through. So anyway, yes, that was Finsbury Park that we just went through, and the where'd the football stadium go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, we haven't quite reached it yet. Then we have the rather awkward entrance to King's Cross, because we're on a fairly steep downward gradient for much of the final approach. So I'm going to drop our speed down to the 45, even though we are still over half a mile away from it. So then, yeah, this downhill section, no, we should be fine here, because even though we are speeding up, 1 in 107 downhill, it's not going to speed us up enough that we are going to be speeding through here. We've got to really bring the speed down a bit sharpish though now, because yeah, double yellow, and we have 15 mph speed limit coming up. I think the 15 comes into effect before we finish going through the tunnel here. There we go. We are still on this downhill bit though. We've really got to make sure we don't start speeding. Yeah. So there we are now in the 15 mph zone. As we approach platform 1. downhill section is now starting to level out of it, but another 180 right there in what is genuinely called platform 0. I need to get our speed down to, yeah, single figures, or we are making the final approach here. Obviously want to make sure the whole train is on the platform, which it will be. There's still plenty of room between us and the buffers. Get the doors open, and there we are. So that was the full run, Darlington to King's Cross in the Class 370 APT. Honestly, I have no idea how far that route, or in terms of how long, in terms of time it was, but in terms of distance, it was, as near as makes no difference, 250 miles. Easily the longest request I've had, both in terms of distance and in terms of time. But yeah, it was a great one. I mean, I always love driving the APT. So yeah, I got no problem with that. So yeah, speeding 5 times on that final section, which means, yeah, on that entire journey of 250 miles, I picked up 14 speeding errors. Not great. But yeah, I think I'm going to be forgiven 14 speeding errors when you consider how long that journey was. So there we are, Darlington to London King's Cross, 250 mile trip. Yeah, that was a great one, that. Yeah, any chance to take the APT out for a spin? I don't do it anywhere near as often as I should when I'm playing this game. So there we go, that is that one done, and we will see you at the next one.